Aloha, I'm Brickwood Galuteria. Welcome to Kupuna Power, a show for and about seniors. As always, we display the senior helpline phone number, 768-7700. Have we got a show for you? We'll start with my friend Atira, Melveen Lead, and then Kupuna Power will head into the community for a few stops. So, who is Melveen Lead? Melveen Lead is a singer. Melveen Lead is an entertainer. Born and raised on the island of Molokai, she is arguably one of, if not the best female vocalist in Hawaii. As far back as her early childhood, she liked the art of music, and especially to sing. As she developed her talent for vocalizing, there were many avenues and musical genres she found exciting. Hawaiian music was foremost, but she also became proficient in jazz, country, and mainstream pop. She won the Nahoku Hanohano Award for Best Female Vocalist 5 times and sang at the Grand Ole Opry. Her acting talent blossomed, and she had several guest roles on Hawaii Five-0. She just returned from a performance at Carnegie Hall in New York City. Melveen remains one of Hawaii's greatest ambassadors of history and culture of her people. In her 5th decade of performing the music she loves, Melveen continues to create many moments of enjoyment for her many fans. She's a marvelous and enduring performer. Datira, Melveen is here with us today. Hey, it's Kupuna Power. We're talking power over here. We're talking Molokai power, frankly. A dear friend of mine and a gal with an illustrious career in show business and community service as well. Melveen, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Nice to be here.
Kupuna Power.
Yep.
It's great to be a Kupuna these days.
That's where we are.
That's where we are.
Cannot back up.
Yeah, but if we were to go and revisit your life.
Yes.
I mean, it's filled with incredible accomplishments.
Yes, good and bad.
Good and bad.
Yes.
We'll touch on some of the bad too.
No.
But let's start from the beginning, because I want to talk to you too about what it means to be a kupuna these days. But certainly, as you're growing up, Molokai,
Yes.
right? That's where you were born and raised,
Yes.
right? And then kind of like make your way through, because you're also Miss Molokai?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Let's start from the beginning then. What elementary school?
Kilohana Elementary School.
Yeah?
It was elementary and intermediate that time. Went up to 10th grade.
Oh, I see.
I graduated 10th grade.
And
there.
then
Yeah.
graduate, okay, but you went to Molokai High?
No,
You
I
just
went to Radford.
graduated
Yeah,
at
then I
10th
moved to
grade.
Honolulu, went to Radford.
Oh
High
yeah,
School.
that's
Yeah,
right. You
from
went to
junior,
Radford,
senior year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Proud.
I was the 2nd graduating class of Radford High School.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
And then you were always a singer? Were you always a singer?
Since I was 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah, my grandmother used to make me sing for all the aunties and uncles that, even if it wasn't, they weren't our uncles and aunties, but she used to make me sing for them.
All of Calabash.
I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice this morning because it's so early or something, you know what I mean?
Really?
So I sound like you.
Well, that's okay. It's all good. But, we'll just move the key down a little bit on the board here.
Yeah, but on Molokai, Kilohana Elementary was really nice growing up, and I sang every chance I could. They
What
asked
song?
me to.
What song?
Well, the PTA. Remember the PTA? The PTA, the PTA. United, now we stand. Yeah, it was for all the parents. Yeah, I led them and I played the piano.
So when you came to Radford, you were singing too? You were a part of the
Yes,
choirs and
Ram
stuff like
Rocks.
that?
No, not choir. Never a choir. Ram Rocks. I was one of the lead singers.
What's
Yeah.
the Ram Rocks? You're talking
Oh,
about
it was
like
our
a rock
group,
band?
a rock and roll band. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
We were good. We were hot. We were hitting all the schools, intermediate schools, and singing for them during recess.
What about after that? You went when did you get into the professional?
Garden Bar.
part of your-
Yeah. Well, first actually was with the Exotics, a group from Waianae, Kava, them, and they asked me to join them. And my uncle Buster was in this group, and they did military clubs. I was only 16.
Really?
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
So you're sneaking into the clubs?
Oh yeah, but that's how it was. And then I sang with them, and then afterwards, Hilton Wine Village. My mom worked there in the front office and cashier.
That's when you did your first recording?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, with Makaha Records.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as Marlene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so after that, you stayed how many years? You recall?
Hilton?
You recall, yeah.
Oh,
Hilton.
oh.
Garden Bar.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Long time?
Long time, yes.
Long time.
Yeah.
And then you went into
I went on my own. Yeah.
Because, you know, the styles that you cover is so varied, all of the different genres. I can almost name a genre, and you've done a recording
Yes,
about it. For instance, jazz.
Yes.
You're a jazz singer. You're a country singer.
Yeah.
You're a Hawaiian singer.
Yeah. Latin.
Latin singer.
Yeah. And ethnic, different ethnic languages.
Was that by design, or you just loved the style?
I loved it.
or-
I loved it. Yeah.
You're one of
Because I was told years ago, oh heck, you know Sterling Mossman.
yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my idols, you know, because I really loved the way he entertained. From him and Don Ho, I learned how to entertain, and not only sing. And Sterling told me, he says, you know, you gotta sing different kind of music because you know this audience you see, look around you, you see people from all over the world. You gotta please everybody. So that stuck in my mind. So I took it upon myself to learn all kinds of languages and different styles of singing, and different kinds of music and rhythms.
Well, in terms of accomplishments, you're one of the few, if not the only, Hawaiian entertainer that's gone to the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah. No, there was Tilton. I forgot her name. She sang at the Grand Ole Opry. And then, of course, came, I think, our local, did Dennis Kamakahi? I don't remember if they did it or not.
Yeah, but you had some great recordings.
Oh, yeah.
Country recordings.
The best.
Because you worked with the Super
Super Pickers.
The Super Pickers.
Yeah.
That's the top guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're only studio musicians now. And my producer was Patsy Cline's producer,
Oh.
Owen Bradley.
Now, who in Hawaii can say that?
Yeah. He produced Brenda Lee, Loretta Lynn, Patsy Cline, Conway Twitty, all these great singers.
You know, another thing I recall about you, Mel, was the way you would enter the Nahoku Hano Hano Awards every year. I mean, we would wait for what Melveen would be wearing.
I know.
That was so classic, classic. But now, you know, your career has evolved, your life has evolved, you're kupuna now.
Yes.
And that's something that is only attained through living.
Yes.
What's it like for you?
Oh, you know, I was scared at first until I hit 60. And that's when it really hit me. And then I started to love it. I used to lie about my age before, and now I just tell everybody, I don't care, you know. I'm proud. I'm going to be 71 on the 18th of this month.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
I know.
You don't look 70. You don't look
Thank
60.
You. Oh, thank you.
No, that's terrific.
I still throw net. I still do all those things, you know.
How much? You got mopuna?
Oh, I have two lovely. Yeah, I have many. Of course, in my previous marriages, I'm still their grandmother.
But,
you know, it's all my grandchildren.
You know, okay, I'm going to stay away from that one.
Yeah.
But you now being 71, regardless of the senior discounts.
Yes.
What does it mean for you to be a kupuna?
It's the knowledge. It's the knowledge that I've acquired through the years. Now I can see. Now I know what my grandmother meant. You know, when she said, "You wait till you become a kupuna." Now I'm one. I know where she was. You know what I mean? It's wonderful because you've been there, yeah, and you've done that.
Yeah.
And you're wiser, much wiser. Yeah. Had I known then what I know now, I wouldn't have made all the mistakes I did. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a wonderful feeling, and the respect.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to have that respect.
One of the reasons we do Kupuna Power is so that you know, people will realize the type of resources that are available to them from the governments,
Yes.
and also what the esteem that you gain by becoming a senior.
Yes.
And you got a major accomplishment that's going to be coming up, and of course this show is probably rebroadcast down the line, but you're the ambassador
Yes.
of the Good Life Expo, the senior fair coming up.
Yes. I'm so proud to have that position because, you know, I perform. Now my heart is reaching out more so to the kupunas, you know. And we know our music, our era, to me was the best music there was, you know, from before. The meaning of the songs and the feeling, you know, it's here. And it stays here. And when I sing and I see the kupunas, they tear, you know, they're just, you know, that they're in that moment. We reminisce, we go back, we think about all those things, yeah.
Well,
it's wonderful.
you transport everybody back to
Yeah.
their good
Yeah.
times,
Oh yeah.
right?
It's a healing.
Yeah,
Also.
actually, yeah. So you're a Kupuna therapist.
Yeah.
So you're going to be performing at the fair.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to do a Kupuna Power performance, and some of your colleagues, some of our colleagues, Jimmy Borges, Marlene, Sai, Danny Kalikini, going to come and join us on stage. And you're going to be performing the 3 days,
Yes.
26, 27,
27,
28
28th of September.
of September, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so what's in store besides that from Melveen Lead?
Well, you know what I like to do is, oh, you mean from now? What I do is I'm going to go to Tahiti
Okay.
this August and perform with John Rolls. He's a Kupuna.
John Rolls.
Yep.
What a name out of the past.
Yeah, and Gabby Lou. He's one of the top singers in Tahiti. And we're going to be in that huge arena called To'ata. And we're going to give a beautiful show for everyone.
Yeah.
I wish it was here in Hawaii also. You
Well,
know?
I recall going to Tahiti with you for a New Year's Eve celebration.
Yeah.
A while back.
But one of the, see, we have bucket lists. That's what's nice about Kupunas. We have our bucket lists and we have to fulfill. Mine is filled because I just sang at Carnegie Hall and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
The most beautiful feeling. That it was like singing at Grand Ole Opry years ago.
Sure.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Well, so Carnegie, where do you go next then after Carnegie Hall? I mean, what?
Home.
Kupuna Power. Kupuna Power show, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Kupuna
right
Power.
here.
Yes,
Kupuna Power.
yes.
We're going to be wrapping up. I'm not going to ask you to sing since your voice is
Yeah, I'm
not
sorry.
feeling too good looking.
Yeah, because I'm allergic to something. When you get Kupuna, you get allergic to many things now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I ate that pastry and oh my God, I just lost my voice.
Well, anything
But
you'd like to close with? I mean, any thoughts?
I just want to say thank you out there for the memories. Thank you for supporting us. Local entertainers, continue to support our local entertainers. And always, all you younger generation, always have the respect for our kupunas. We are the ones with the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience. Always remember that. You have not been there yet. We have, and we know. So if you want to know anything, ask us, okay? And we love you very much.
Well, that's an open invitation.
Yeah.
That's what Kupuna Power is all about. It's not only, getting the Kupuna to be showcased, but also showcasing their knowledge so
Yes.
that the young generations who are
Yes.
coming up and through
Yeah.
can prepare themselves.
Sure. And if you don't know if I don't know the answer, go ask Jimmy Borges.
That's another show. Okay, Mel, thank you so much. Mahalo.
Oh, you're
coming.
welcome. Thank you, Brick. And I'm so proud of you. I just wanted to tell you.
Thank you,
I'm
dear.
really proud of you.
I appreciate. Mutual Admiration Society going on today, but this is Kupuna Power. Up next, AARP discusses long-term care insurance at a recent legislators' town hall meeting. But first, which of these former governors was not born in Hawaii? John Burns, George Ariyoshi, or Linda Lingle?
This fall didn't have to happen. Here are 4 tips. Some medications cause dizziness, which can lead to falls. Simply make an appointment with your doctor or pharmacist today to review your medications, including any over-the-counter drugs and supplements. Maintaining good vision helps with balance and safety. Have your eyes checked at least once a year. We have to keep moving because balance and strength are essential to preventing falls. Walk or play in the garden, or exercise with friends, and swim, and start a program like Tai Chi, as it is proven to be the best for fall prevention and balance. Remove fall hazards. Make your home safer by keeping pathways clear and the floor free of objects. Call the Department of Health at 733-9202.
We're going to talk about the challenges associated with family caregiving and staying independent and at home for as long as possible. And then we'll talk about some of the resources and financing options and some of the significant policy options that you should be aware of. And when I use the words long-term care, a lot of things come into people's mind. One thing people think about right away oftentimes is nursing homes. And one of the things that AARP tries to get across in the community is that we're really not trying to promote the idea that everybody should end up or go or aspire to be in a nursing home at some point in their lives. In fact, we know from research and from talking to our own members in the community that really everybody wants to stay at home for as long as possible. You know, a lot of people don't think of this as something that will ever really happen to us and our loved ones, but in fact, the research indicates that 7 out of 10 people, once they reach the age of 65, will need some form of help. And you'll probably, or they will probably need that help for about 3 years. The red line indicates something that I think all of us has heard about in the news or read about in the newspaper, and that is that we're a really rapidly aging population in Hawaii. Right now, there are about 210,000 Hawaii residents above the age of 65, and that number is growing quite rapidly. But more significant, I think, is the blue line. This line represents the number of people in Hawaii who are of potential caregiver age. And as you can see, that number is going to be declining in the next decade or so, just as the baby boom population enters the highest risk years. When we survey our own members, about 75 or 80% say they don't want to burden their family members, but the irony is, when you ask them a follow-up question like, well, how do you expect to have care provided? Guess what they say? I expect a family member will do it. Oftentimes, in the absence of proper planning, that's what happens. It just sort of happens that way. And so family caregivers are extremely important to our ability to care for our kupuna in Hawaii. This is the latest 2014 Genworth, from the Genworth Cost of Care Survey, and it indicates the cost of 1 year in a private nursing home room. Now, again, as I said, not everybody is thinking nursing home, and you shouldn't be thinking nursing home. Nursing homes are wonderful in some ways, and they're necessary in some ways. We like to think of them really as a last resort, though, when there's no other option for taking care of yourself. Here are some of the other options, all of which are expensive. Here are some of the personal options. We can go through these very quickly. I'm not going to talk much about Social Security. The median retirement account balance for near retirees in America is, wait for it, $12,000. Not very much. Some people do save enough. Obviously, you hope you have income. Private long-term care insurance, I'll talk about a little bit, and home equity. That's default number 2. So let's talk a little bit briefly about long-term care insurance. Is it right for you, first of all? And the shortest answer to that is maybe. If it enables you to live at home independently longer, it obviously is great in protecting assets and that you can pass along to your heirs. It does help to keep families from having to provide all the care. It takes, again, some of the pressure off family caregivers. And it makes it easier in many ways to get into a nursing home if and when the time comes, because private insurance is one of the things that is sort of like nursing homes are looking for. They typically are interested in where their revenues are coming from. Premiums for long-term care can be quite expensive, especially as you get older. So you need to think about whether or not you have family members who might help you out, and that's a serious consideration. You need to think about whether or not you have enough money to pay out of pocket. Most of us don't, as I indicated. And you also need to think about whether or not you anticipate your income to be quite low in the years ahead, or if you'll have few assets. Because if that's the case, it may make more sense, as I'll say in just a moment, to try to qualify for Medicaid. So here are some of the questions that we recommend people ask when they're contemplating long-term care insurance. Is the company financially stable? What are the services that are covered, and in what settings? How much is it going to cost you is always a big question. How often and how much will premiums increase? How much will the policy pay? There may be a cap on the benefits, and often there is. How do I qualify for benefits? When will the benefits begin? Quite frequently, it's a 30, 60, or 90-day lag. Inflation is a big one. We do recommend that if you seriously think about buying long-term care insurance, that you make sure that you're buying a policy that has some sort of inflation adjustment into it, and whether or not there are exclusions. You need to know that not all policies are created equal, and you need to know that not all companies are created equal. Find out whether or not a company's been in business, for how long, whether or not there are any public complaints about that company, whether or not and how frequently they've raised their premiums. I believe the insurance division can answer those kind of questions. Really important that we take advantage of those contacts. Home equity is going to be an attractive default for many of us. However, if you're thinking about leaving your kids and grandkids a legacy or an asset in terms of your home, well, if you're using that asset during your own lifetime to provide care, obviously, it's much less of an asset to leave. You can sell your home, obviously, if you need long-term care insurance, and you'll get a sum of money with which perhaps to make life a little bit easier in terms of making those decisions. That's one thing. Obviously, you don't have the home to live in then, so the other option is a reverse mortgage. Maybe that's the way to go, because obviously you can live in the home and you're promising it to the company that is giving you the money, but you'll have to relinquish that asset when the time comes, typically when you or your spouse pass. Oftentimes it may make sense to try to look into something called a home equity line of credit or home equity loan. That way you're not necessarily giving up the full asset, but rather making the best use of the leverage that you have while you plan to keep that asset for a longer time. There are significant upfront costs to consider. AARP does not advise that people enter into a home equity a reverse mortgage with the idea of buying long-term care insurance. You do want to ask yourself whether or not you intend or perhaps might qualify for Medicaid at some point. You need to ask yourself whether or not you plan to move. And we advise that you not take it so early because there may be risks associated with doing that. Now I'd like to shift gears a little bit into the public programs, which a lot of people are really thinking about as a third default. Medicaid is the major source of payment if you have little income and few assets. Medicaid is, in a sense, a safety net of last resort. You've basically impoverished yourself in order to qualify for those federal benefits, those long-term care benefits. And another option is a program called Kupuna Care. So who's eligible for Medicaid? Well, understand that it's a joint federal and state program for people with low income and limited resources. You have to meet very specific state requirements in order to be eligible for Medicaid. Kupuna Care. Kupuna Care is a program that is funded by the state and administered by the city and county. The Office on Aging in each of the counties administers this. You are eligible if you're not eligible for services from other public programs or already receiving private pay services. You have to be living at home. You have to have a significant impairment. And it provides, this is quite a nice side of the benefit, personal care, chore, homemaker, these kinds of services. However, there's a drawback. There's a limited pool of funding available for Kupuna Care, and it's a great segue to this slide because we're really talking about public programs. And when we talk about the federal budget, when we talk about the state budget, when we talk about the county budgets, they are not unlimited. They really have to make, our elected officials have to make very tough decisions about where the money will go, this will give you a good perspective on the limitations and where the money goes very quickly. 1.3 million people in the state, and the long-term care needs of about 20,000 age, blind, and disabled people, these are the long-term care folks, are taken care of through Medicaid. Our non-Medicaid publication relies on limited services through Kupuna Care, and Kupuna Care funding was available for about 5,000 residents last year, so you can see how limited that is. In summary, we've got a rapidly aging population. We have family caregivers who are under pressure. We know that long-term care is prohibitively expensive. We know that many of us have not adequately planned for long-term care. We haven't saved enough, and there's never going to be enough public services to meet all those needs. So what do? Have the conversation with your family members. Start planning now. Don't delay. Life insurance. Unfortunately, life insurance may not help the person who gets or buys the policy. But a lot of insurance folks believe, and I'm not selling insurance here tonight, that life insurance makes a lot of sense for the survivors of someone who takes out that policy. You can interact, and we encourage that as an advocacy organization, that you talk to your state legislators and ask them to, as we say, sound the silver tsunami alarm. Make sure that everybody understands that this is a community issue. We are in this really together, because if we come to a point where many of us cannot cope financially, emotionally, physically with the demands of caregiving, there have to be backup solutions. And of course, you can explore the possibility of long-term care insurance.
I'm very pleased with tonight's event. What we wanted was to be able to present to the people that came what are some of the problems that's surrounding long-term care, that's surrounding our Kupuna, what to expect as far as caregiving, and just to plan. Everybody thinks, oh, we're invincible. You know, all of a sudden you wake up and you're 50, you're 60, and you haven't planned, you haven't saved. We live in a society that charges everything. And we're going to pay tomorrow. We're going to pay when we get a better job. We're going to do this. We like to have nice things now, and so we really need to make the awareness and put in programs and policies. To sometimes you have to force feed it.
Did you guess which former governor was not born in Hawaii? The answer is John Burns, who was born in Montana. And there you have it, another episode of education, entertainment, and aloha. Mahalo to Hawaii's own Melveen Lead for sharing her special memories. I'm Brickwood Galuteria. Join me next week for another episode of Kupuna Power. Aloha.